everybody. It's so nice to see you. I see that you've already gotten started with your incredible generosity. Look at that. Michael, 5 memberships gifted. Let's see here. I saw some other people too. You guys started the party already. I love it. Bartleby, generous as always, as is Michael. Andrew Summers gifted 5 memberships. That's just so kind of you. Very nice, you guys. So kind. And let's see here. Now it's my turn to gift 5 memberships. It's the first. Oh, look. J-Lo gifted 5 memberships. Yes, it's the start of the week, and at the beginning of every week, I give out 5 memberships. Hey, Zay. So hold on. Let me do it too. I want to do it too. Okay, so 5 memberships. Here we go. I see somebody just gifted 1 membership. Thanks, Lloyd. Any membership is appreciated. Okay, hold on. There we go. 5 memberships for myself as well. Faisal. Faisal also gifted 5 memberships. Wow, I think we definitely have passed 2,000 gifted memberships for the month of June. So incredibly generous. Oh, Lady Jennifer gifted 10. Oh, it's Lady Jennifer. I'm sorry I didn't see that. Hold on. Blur Brodick, thank you for the generosity there. Let's see here. Evan Moore, Mission Impossible has not moved up to July 8th. That's only overseas, where it was always going to come out at that time. It's not moved up anywhere else in the United States. It's still coming out on Wednesday the 12th. Lady Jennifer Snow, that's so generous of you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who pointed it out. Whelmed, another 5 memberships. Oh, my goodness. And again, if you see all these memberships flying around, how do you get a gifted membership? Well, again, you need to be engaged with the channel. So anybody who watches a lot of the videos, who likes the videos, who subscribes to the videos, comments on them, was a member previously, then YouTube feels you would appreciate a membership and gifts you one. So that's fantastic. I'm very, very happy. Evan Moore gifted a membership. You guys are all sweethearts. Okay, so welcome everybody to the stream. And also, if you're not a member, welcome as well. I hope you're enjoying the show. Also, just so you know, okay, oh yes, Kevin pointed out you also have to turn on the ability to receive memberships. And I believe that's somewhere with the membership tab. You might have to Google that. I'm not quite sure how you turn it on. But that's a very important point, Kevin. Thank you very much for pointing that out. And is Brett here? Is Brett here? Brett, I posted, yes, Brett says, hi, Grace. I want to thank you again for your post on Twitter last night. It means so much for you, that you and the BTT family have done for me. God bless you in this community. Yes, you guys are very generous across the board. Brett's mother is having a difficult situation. She's very sick. And I tweeted out the GoFundMe campaign that he's running for her. And I'm glad that some of you were able to donate, as did I. Hey, Ross, thanks for gifting a membership. All right, we're going to get started. Now, the way this works, if you are not watching live, is that the square will let you know what story we're on. Some people were like, what if I'm not watching live and I'm only interested in one of the stories? Well, pay attention to the red square, baby, because that'll tell you where we are. Boop, like that. Look, that's the story we're on. It's got a red square around it. I like James Cameron's, he wishes he was James Cameron. I like, hey, Tomas, thanks for gifting a membership. I like James Gunn's floating head. I had to put the white glow around the head because some of his hair got cut out when I was cutting out his head. And so I was like, oh, I'll hide it with a white halo. But he looks like Jor-El. He looks like Jor-El when Marlon Brando played him in the Richard Donner Superman. So that's pretty funny. All right, so let's talk about it. So there was a big story yesterday. The Hollywood Reporter is working real hard to help out Jimmy G. They're like, do you want to try and distract people from The Flash? How about we'll talk more about this casting, which isn't going anywhere. But, you know, it does get some traction. At least people are interested on Twitter, but we've been there before. Where everybody on DC seems super interested about a movie, and then the movie comes out and just absolutely tanks. So I think that's a little something to be concerned about. I wouldn't necessarily trust the social media reaction. But people are pretty excited about the pairings. So that was the first part of the story. All right, so the Hollywood Reporter said, oh, not only did they test them, but they paired them. Okay, we'll do a poll, Classic Bunny Librarian. What a name! I love the Classic Bunny Librarian name. You guys put me in such a good mood. I was having a little bit of a funky morning. I was not happy. But you guys are making me very happy. Okay. Which of the pairings do you like the best? And even if you're not a member, you can vote in polls, just so you know if you're watching and you're not a member. Okay? So the first was Nicholas Hoult, who doesn't have, if it weren't for bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. And Rachel Brosnahan, who's like, I can't believe you paired me with Nicholas Hoult. I want to get this job. Then Tom Brittney, who none of us really know who he is, but he kind of looks like Superman. And Phoebe Denever from Bridgerton, the first season of Bridgerton that nobody paid attention to. And then they're like, we can say she was in Bridgerton. And I'm like, I don't know if getting like the only white person from Bridgerton is really going to do what you think it is for your show. Okay, David Corin Sweat and Emma Mackey, which is the couple that everybody went nuts for online. They were trending. David and Emma. People were like, David and Emma. Hey, Max. Thanks for gifting a membership. Okay, so you can vote for your favorite couple. The internet was pretty excited for David and Emma, as ES said. They trended for a reason. So that was pretty interesting. But then the really interesting, slow-mo, I might have fast-forwarded through part of Bridgerton and watched certain parts of it just to see what all the fuss was about. And I was like, dang, those are some sex scenes. And then I was like, this, it's not for me. But I could see the appeal. I really liked some of the really nice stuff in Queen Charlotte. I thought some of that was quite touching. That they had a really beautiful scene at the end there. All right, so the really interesting news, though, is that who James Gunn was potentially considering for Lex Luthor. And as some of you wrote to me, it's brother versus brother. It's Alexander Skarsgård versus Billy Skarsgård, a.k.a. Bill Skarsgård. Now, I don't know. I think, to me, it's clearly Alexander Skarsgård. I don't want to see either of them bald, by the way. I think making either one of them bald is ridiculous. Okay? I'm like, but with red hair, I'd be okay with it. Now, it's clearly Alexander Skarsgård. Now, I think they did Bill Skarsgård because of John Wick 4, where he was playing the villain, and he was okay. He was not bad, but he's no Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have Brainiac, Jeff. We've been yelling at them for years to do Brainiac for the Superman villain, and they won't do it. But I gotta tell you, I kind of like Alexander Skarsgård. Now, the reason is for Succession. If you've watched the last 2 seasons of Succession, Alexander Skarsgård played a European businessman who wanted to take over Waystar Royco. And now you can see him in two of the pictures there. And he looks pretty cool. But yeah, Lucas Matson, as some of you were pointing out. He played Lucas Matson. And I gotta tell you, I think he might be a pretty good Lex Luthor, but I don't want to see him bald. So I kind of like the idea. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like the idea. Although I would also tell you that I feel sorry for whatever Superman actor has to compete with Alexander Skarsgård physically. All the guys that are being considered are nowhere near the physicality of Alexander Skarsgård. And Lex Luthor is supposed to feel intimidated physically, by Superman. And I'd be like, I don't know why Lex Luthor has a problem with Superman, because he's better than him in every single way. Right? He's got more money, he's more successful, he's a huge businessman, and he's giant. He's really giant and ripped. Yeah, as many of you were pointing out, did you see him in Tarzan or The Northman? I mean, I would feel sorry for any Superman actor who had to stand next to him. I'd be like, let's get him an apple box and let him stand on it, because this is ridiculous. Oh yeah, True Blood, of course. True Blood. Everyone's going to be rooting for Lex Luthor, quite frankly. That could be a little bit dangerous. I was going to say it a little later, but I'll say it now. I will say that in James Gunn's defense, I do think that Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and Alexander Skarsgård as Lex Luthor are pretty clever. I think, I gotta say, part of me is like, damn, that's a good idea. You know, it's really out of left field. It's very adult. It's, I think, somewhat sophisticated. And I think, it seems a little fresh because it's not like, the teeny boppers that sometimes, are cast because, we need them to last for like 10 years. And you're like, I don't care. I just want a good movie now. I'm not worried about a movie 10 years from now. Let's just see if this movie does well. I mean, look at how long poor Daniel Craig had to play James Bond. And he was good right up until the end. Nobody cared. So my only thing, though, is that I don't feel that they have a good Superman. Let's look at the vote. I still don't think they have a good Superman. I think that Max Beck, did I thank you for the memberships? That's very kind. I don't think they have a good Superman. I think David Cornsweet is he's okay. But I gotta tell you, I think he's a little bland. But he's winning the poll there. 71% want David and Emma. Oh boy. Rachel Brosnahan's like, again, how did I get stuck with Nicholas Hoult? So I don't think that's great. But I feel like no Superman choice is as exciting as Rachel Brosnahan and Alexander Skarsgard. Like there, I'm like, that's actually really clever. But with Superman, I'm like, oh yeah, the guy everybody wanted like 5-6 years ago. Just because he has a curl in his hair, you're like, oh, he must be Superman. I'm like, enough hairspray and a wig can get that on anybody, my friend. Marduk, Superman is not bland. That's the whole problem. If you go in with a bland Superman, it's just going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, look how much Chris Evans did for Captain America. He became the new Superman because of what he did with that character. So you need someone like that. I'm telling you, I've seen David Cornsweet in 2 things. And he was awful. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he became a great actor in Pearl. Maybe you're right. But I'm telling you, he was bad. It was bad. It was real bad. Bruce Wayne says, Grace, I agree. Alexander Skarsgård will completely overshadow any Superman choice. Yeah, it's really hard. Maybe he could have done it against Henry Cavill. I agree. But even then, I think the internet would be like, and now kiss. They wouldn't be trying to get them to fight each other. It would be like, this is crazy, man. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's very, very interesting. So I wonder what's going to happen with when they'll announce this casting. Will DC present at Comic-Con? We'll see. It hasn't been decided yet. But, you guys want a Luthor poll? You need another poll for Luthor? Okay, we'll do a Luthor poll. Steve Music, Alexander Skarsgård is in the running for Lex Luthor, apparently. Who should be Lex Luthor? Alexander Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. These ain't it. As in, keep looking. These ain't it. Keep looking. I still like Bryan Cranston, but I think Bryan Cranston might have aged out at it at this point. All right, there you go. Oh, Renee, I love how happy you are. You got a gifted membership. That's so fantastic. It makes me very happy. So, yeah, Bryan Cranston's aged out of it. Oh, Miguel wants Billy Zane for Luthor. There's someone whose whole account. Oh, yeah, Faisal. My choice, Tom Pelphrey. He would be great. And he's like really skinny, so I think that he would not be intimidating against any Superman. He'd look like very toothpicky. Thanks for reminding me. That was my idea. No, somebody else maybe recommend. Tom Pelphrey. Yeah, Tom Pelphrey. Great choice. But I gotta tell you, Alexander Skarsgård is exciting. Although Alexander Skarsgård has never been in a successful movie. He torpedoes. I mean, Tarzan did okay, but he might be like movie poison. So that would maybe make me a little bit nervous. And again, I'm like, if you shave his head, I'm going to be both appalled and I'm going to laugh because he's going to look ridiculous with no hair. I saw some photos, people were photoshopping them bald, and I was like, they both look ridiculous. Neither one of them has the facial features for a bald head. They look ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. All right, so Alexander Skarsgård is really easily winning this poll. Does anybody have any questions? Manpreet, I don't think Jensen Ackles was considered for Lex Luthor at all. I don't think James Gunn's going to take that kind of a risk. TJ says, can DC not hire old Marvel actors? They could, but I mean, why would they want that comparison, quite frankly? I think James Gunn, if you can see with some of the choices, I mean, it's interesting. David Corenswet and Emma Mackey, to me, are very CW. But Rachel Brosnahan and Alexander Skarsgård are very like HBO. But they're all kind of TV. So the question is, can you make them seem like a movie? That's also very interesting. Ninja Twink says, I made it in time for the poll. I love it. Oh, what about John Hamm? As Lex Luthor? Maybe. I kind of like John Hamm, although I don't want to see him bald either. It's tough to pull off a bald look. It's tough. Although maybe he's got these big eyebrows. I kind of like John Hamm. I like the Dark Savior says, just don't make this movie. I'm nervous about it. I don't really know if the audiences want it. I don't know if audiences want another Superman movie. I think after all the Henry Cavill drama, I think people might be like, I mean, Superman's never actually been even that popular. I mean, he's kind of like, his logo is very iconic, but like nobody really buys the comic book. I mean, I don't think people have been into Superman for a while. I'm not watching Pearl Popcorn Roulette. That's too much for me. I can't take it. Let's see here. Silver Scale says, NoHo Hank pulls off the bald look. I love NoHo Hank. I do, even though Barry went off the rails. Dancing Dog 60, so generous of you, as always. Chris says, hold on. People online think we're getting a full reboot. Melty smiley face for sure. I love the melty smiley face. That's absurd. James Gunn has made it very clear that we're not getting a full reboot, which is super annoying. Keith says, poll for if we want Superman Legacy. We're getting it though. So I don't want to do, that poll will just be mean. Although I appreciate the suggestion, Keith. And then Nick Warner says, do you like Lex Luthor with a beard or without one? Oh yeah, you ever read the old Supergirl comics where Lex Luthor not only has a beard but long hair? He's like very romance cover novelist kind of look. That was an interesting look. I don't know if I want the beard. I just don't want Alexander Skarsgård to be bald. And I got to tell you, I don't really know if I wanted to have a beard either. But red hair, I'm fine with. He could just, in my opinion, look like Alexander Skarsgård. Miguel says, cast a 2-year break for Lex Luthor. That's funny. 80s model, nice to see you back. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Jewel Rodriguez says, Jesse Eisenberg was so awful and strange. I kind of thought, but I kind of understood what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Jesse Eisenberg. He was, very much, he cast him from The Social Network. He really reimagined Lex Luthor as a Mark Zuckerberg. And is not Mark Zuckerberg kind of like Lex Luthor? And Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, aren't they the new Lex Luthor? So it made sense to me. But it did not work out. And it didn't go far enough, I think, to really work. I'll Watch says, Marvel already took him, but Will Poulter would have been a good Lex Luthor. Oh, maybe. We'll talk about Will Poulter in a minute. Will Poulter's star is on the rise. Bryce Ratcliffe says, Emma is honestly the most exciting casting to me. She's incredible on season 3 of Education, and her character is an edgy tough gal with brains. Rooting for her. I hope so. A lot of you are big Emma Mackey fans, and I would love to see what all the fuss is about. So far, I've only seen her in Death on the Nile, and I did not see what anybody was talking about. Blatino Boy says, I'm sick of the main Justice League characters. Let's take some of the other DC standouts. Well, really, Blatino Boy? Because look at how The Flash, that didn't work out. Obachina says, what about an African-American for Lex Luthor? I agree. I thought Denzel at one point would have been interesting. But he's now in Gladiator. Gladiator from Elizabeth Taylor. John Teal says, Colin Salmon has the charisma. I don't even know who that guy is. Like the animated series. The animated series. Great Lex Luthor. Although Clancy Brown is like overdone with his voice work. If I hear Clancy Brown ever again, and he's on the Penguin show, I'm just going to be like, I can't take it anymore. Whelm says, Superman hasn't been done right since Justice League Unlimited. I have no faith in Gunn's legacy. I'm nervous about it, especially since I think he's going to use the Authority as a crutch. I told you I heard that the Authority were going to be in the film, and this article underscored that as well. And then James Gunn has decided to create a situation where Superman is not the first superhero anymore. Which to me makes absolutely no sense and is stupid and ridiculous. And I guess, the Authority is the opposite of like a good old nice guy from a farm in Kansas. They're like a super punk, somewhat British-based group from what I can recall. But, I don't think anybody wants to see how a bunch of jokes about how Clark Kent's a nerd. No thanks. No, thank you. I mean, let's just see. I think, I've read the Authority comics a while ago. I thought they were not bad. but I never want them mixed into the rest of the DC area, quite frankly. All right, let's end the poll. Hold on here. All right, 47% want Lex Luthor, but 34% say keep looking. You guys, you don't like it. And 17% want Billy Skarsgard. Well, Bill's out. All right, so that's the first story of the day. And so we'll see. I think they're narrowing down on the casting, but hopefully a Superman idea comes out of nowhere that hasn't tested yet. Emma Mackey does seem to be the front runner, though, because they did a testing of Lois and Clark at the Daily Planet, and then the next day they cast all the Supermen in the suit to see how they looked, and Emma Mackey was the only Lois invited back to read with all three. And they were like, oh, don't read anything into that. We just brought back one. And it's like, but you didn't try changing them up at all? I would think everyone should get to read with everybody. You know, I'm sure it would have taken a little bit longer, but are you going to pick the right people or not, James Gunn? I mean, if I were Rachel Brosnahan's agent, I'd be like, please let her read with David Cornsweet. Please, 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 please. Okay, so Alwatch says, I'm just assuming Superman's legacy plot, but him going up against the Authority sounds like it will be a convo about how to hero morally. Sounds like Kingdom Come. I really don't want to see that. I don't want to see a conversation about Superman's morality, quite frankly. I don't know. And also, I've seen Superman so many times and so many Superman stories at this point. I certainly don't want... I don't need another Superman origin story or any of that stuff. Okay. One last thing. Blurred Roddick says, I don't need jokes for how Clark is a nerd, but I think the Authority can help define what Superman means for this era. Well said, Blurred Roddick. And I did think Guardians of the Galaxy was very well done. You know, Volume 3. So, let's see. All right, I see you, Boops. We'll boop on to the next story. All right, so hold on. Boop! Story number 2. And don't worry, no spoilers for The Bear Season 2. But it's so great. That's right, Boop Chef. That's great, Mika. Well done. Boop Chef. Boy, I got to tell you, my heart goes out to anyone who works in a restaurant because it is insanity. I'm like, wow, this is nuts. It must be extremely rewarding personally to do this because what a tough racket. So, I mean, but it was very cool. So, okay, Ross says, what is even The Bear? All right, so The Bear is a show that just dropped its season 2 on Thursday that airs, it's an FX show, but it airs on Hulu. And it's really, well, there's no spoilers, don't worry, all right? So what's really great is that while we're always talking about Netflix and HBO, how cool is it that Hulu finally has a hit show? I think that's awesome. Season 4 just dropped its entire season on Thursday, and in the first 4 days, it is the most watched FX premiere ever. Not Hulu premiere, but FX premiere. The first season remains the most watched single season of a comedy in FX history, and with season 2, 70% ahead already in viewership, like this thing was super hot out of the gate. If you're looking for something to watch, go watch The Bear. This is the new It show. I think they also benefited from the fact that Netflix and HBO are silent right now. And so people were looking for something to watch, and The Bear was like, your entertainment is served. And so it trended actually on Thursday. Yes, right, David, you guys had to fight to get me to watch The Bear. Only after Jeremy Allen White won the Golden Globe that I was like, oh, I should watch this. Little Baby Pizza, it's not, I wouldn't say it's mature. There's no nudity on it, but there's an awful lot of swearing. There's just constant swearing. Swearing. But it's really wholesome. It's a very wholesome show. I mean, I think it's fine for anybody to watch, quite frankly, but it has a lot of swearing. It'll also make you really appreciate your family because the family dynamics on this show are nuts. So it trended on Thursday and then again on Sunday because, you know, I think a lot of people binged it in a single day. I binged it in one day because it's short episodes. For the most part, it's 30-minute episodes. Episode 6 is an hour. The finale is 40 minutes. But for the most part, it's 30 minutes, so you can really just go through this thing. You can cut through it like butter. So I watched it in one day, and then I think some people watched it over the weekend, so that's why it trended again on Sunday. So let's talk a little bit about the cast. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the show, but don't worry, no spoilers. All right, so I got my arrow. Hold on. Where'd it go? Where's my arrow? Why can't I see it? Oh, it's not connected. Oh, darn it. Okay, so anyway, I'll have to do it this other way. All right, so Jeremy Allen White plays Carmine. He's the main character. He's the big guy in the white testing the sauce or whatever. You can see him up there. He won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy on television. He's really phenomenal on the show. I'm surprised he's not getting more work. But his partner, Sydney, played by Ayo Abadari, who is, where is she? She's in the front with the red vest on. She actually, as some of you have pointed out, is on Thunderbolts. She's also guested on Abbott Elementary. She's fantastic, so her star is rising very quickly. Oh, thank you, Haunted Autumn, for reminding me. Jeremy Allen White comes from Shameless, so that's fantastic. James, Shameless is far better than The Bear. Well, I haven't watched Shameless, to be fair, but I can't understand how anything could be better than The Bear. And then, hey, Sadie, that's a great picture. And then she does voice April O'Neil in New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dan. That's correct. But then Ebon Moss-Bachrach, he's in the leather coat right underneath. I'm sure I mispronounced his name. But remember, he was in the first season of The Punisher as that guy who was like doing all this. He's also the journalist in The Dropout. But he was in The Punisher. He was the guy who was like the tech guy who helped out Frank. He is so, so fantastic. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, Sadie. But he is fantastic. And Richie, he plays a character called Richie, who was so incredible. Oh, yeah, he was also on Andor, Elliot. I see this guy all over the place. He was in Andor briefly as well. But he is so good, particularly in season 2 of The Bear. His episode, Forks, is, I think, my favorite episode because I kind of relate to Richie in some ways. So I really loved it. And I thought just what happened to him was incredible. And it was really, really good stuff. So, I mean, you should definitely watch The Bears, eh? I mean, I can't recommend it. It's a great show. It has a great cross-section of characters. And I think I saw some people talk about the fact that for season 2, sorry, need a little drink of water. You can see my Sweeney Todd glass. Season 2 focused a lot on the secondary characters. I saw a couple people complain about that. It's called The Bear, Ryan, because of, I think, not only the stress that Carmine, the main character, was going under the first season, but also their family name means The Bear in Italian. And then also that's what they end up naming their new restaurant, because they kind of name it after themselves. I love Tina too, 80s model. Tina was so amazing. And boy, can she sing. When she sang during karaoke, I was like, wow, she's amazing. Oh, that's right, the Chicago Bears as well. The whole show takes place in Chicago. And it really teaches you about the restaurant business, what it's like to work in the restaurant business in various roles. But I also think, it was less about Carmi this season, but it was also more about saying yes to yourself and what low self-esteem can do to people and how to overcome it. I thought that was very inspiring because a lot of people are plagued by low self-esteem their entire life. And so I really, really think it's good to showcase that. Also, I think something else that it talked about was making your path as an adult after you've been lost. So often it's like, what are you going to do after high school? Well, what after high school? What if after high school your life totally goes down the drain? Are you done? Or is there a way for you to crawl back out of it and get yourself back on a track? And it seems to be that a lot of people who find themselves in that situation end up in the restaurant business. There seems to be a common thread. So I think that's really good. So I want to talk to you about some of the guest stars on the show. So this was quite the season for guest stars, which goes to show you how successful this show has become, that all these big stars were willing to sign on. Now, I don't want to spoil too many of the cameos. There's a ton of cameos. However, the two biggest ones, which have already been talked about significantly online, so I am going to talk about the two biggest cameos because they've been talked about significantly on Twitter, okay? But I'm not going to talk about the roles, who they play, or what the surprises are for their characters, all right? So the two are Jamie Lee Curtis, who is on quite the role. I agree with Nacho Flores. Jamie Lee Curtis will almost certainly win an Emmy, or be nominated at least for her work here. Hot off for Oscar. She's going to get an Emmy. And Will Poulter. Will Poulter showed up for one of the episodes, and he also did a phenomenal job. And I think both of their careers are going to get a boost from this. You really have to see. Jamie Lee Curtis shows up in episode 6. There's one other surprise. I won't ruin it. And Will Poulter is in episode 4. But the Jamie Lee Curtis role, it was some of the best acting I've ever seen. Like, she was incredible. I think she really shut down anyone who felt maybe she didn't deserve her Oscar. I mean, she just did such an absolutely incredible job. I agree, Sierra, that many celebrities must have loved season 1 to be willing to fly to Chicago for this small show, comparatively, on Hulu. And they were in this. And that's just incredible. So I highly recommend this show. I thought it was incredible. I thought season 2 was even better than season 1. And I can't wait to see where the show goes from here. But this is a very hot show. That's right, Josh loves movies. It's a little bit like Only Murders in the Building, which also, by the way, is on Hulu. And so Hulu's got 2 shows going for it now. It's got 2 shows going for it. Randy, did Curtis post something about her role? I'd be curious to see about that. All right, so that's Jamie Lee Curtis, really. You have to see that performance. You don't even have to watch the whole show. I mean, I recommend that you do, but most of the guest stars are in episode 6. So at least watch episode 6. It's incredible. And if all those people willing to be in the show doesn't tell you something about how special it is, nothing will. All right, so that's the second story of the day. The third story of the day, boom, baby. What do you know? Paramount has rolled Showtime into the service, Paramount Plus. So starting this morning, it's called Paramount Plus with Showtime. I got an email with them saying we're going to charge you more money. And I was like, do I want to cancel this? But it's funny because literally just the other day, I canceled Showtime. I unsubscribed from Showtime. I churned, baby, because Yellow Jacket season 2 is done. And I got charged. I got the email saying I got charged. And I was like, gosh darn it. So I went and I deleted, I unsubscribed. So I don't get charged again the month after. So almost as if Paramount could see everybody unsubscribing or churning. Paramount saw everybody churning and said, let's stick this on Paramount Plus. So I wonder if they're inspired by Max, which now has HBO on it. So now both services have a premium section. And I think that kind of makes HBO less special because it just makes them Showtime equivalent again. Whereas for a while there, they had their own streaming service with HBO Max. Now, the whole reason that Warner Brothers Discovery gutted HBO Max and turned it into just Max is because they wanted to get more middle Americans to sign up, right? They were like, oh, we know what we're doing with Discovery Plus. This is what's going to make it work. And so that's why they did it. But we don't know if that's worked yet. We don't know what the numbers are. So we're still waiting on that. Paramount Plus has 60 million subscribers as of right now. And Showtime most recently reported 27 million subscribers. They're not being switched over necessarily, but if now if a lot of people churned, they can watch the Showtime content on Paramount Plus. HBO, there's no number for Max. HBO and HBO Max have 76.8 million subs, but that's, one's a premium cable network, one's a streaming service. So we really have no idea how many subscribers HBO Max or now Max has. Juan says, I have Paramount Plus through Apple, so I don't get charged extra because it includes Showtime. I've had that since it was CBS Access. This is too confusing, Juan. I can't even figure out all this stuff out. I'm like, what? That's interesting, Michael, that you worked for Showtime. That's great. Showtime's been around like HBO for a long time. But also, Paramount Plus and Paramount Plus and Max. Oh, I've got the glare again. Sorry about that. Paramount Plus and Max. Can I get that to go away? There a little bit. Okay, Paramount Plus and Max. Oh, it's back. All right, Paramount Plus and Max are both blue now. And they both have a premium service. So they started to just kind of become the same thing, in my opinion. Oh, you're just going to have to live with the glare. Sorry. So we'll see what happens. I think the idea is to widen the audience for their Showtime shows. Yellow Jackets, although I thought Yellow Jackets season 2 was so bad, I'm not watching season 3. I'm done. I'm done with Yellow Jackets, even though I love Christina Ricci on the show. And I really liked Elijah Wood on the show. In fact, I didn't think there was enough Elijah Wood on the show. And then Billions is coming back. That's right. Billions is coming back, season 7, the final season. But I got to tell you, For a while, I used to watch Suits, and then I discovered Billions, and I was like, Suits is for babies. And then I discovered Succession, and I was like, Billions is for babies. And so I can't go back. So I haven't watched Billions for a while now. Although I'm happy some of you are excited for Billions. And Damian Lewis is back, right, for the final season. Mr. Seymour Duck, I'm not sure when Disney Plus and Hulu are going to merge. It's still partially owned by NBC Universal, Comcast. So they still have to work that all out. Hey, Brett. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this before we get to the Ask Me Anything? Dylan says, did The Idol damage HBO's brand? I don't think that it did, but I think it ruined The Weeknd's career and probably also, what is it, Sam Levinson from Euphoria? I think they're both done. Kay Walton says, you missed my question on the bear. Hold on, let me go find it. I don't know where it went. Kay Walton, ask it again just here regularly. Let's see here. Nacho Flores, some of you feel that Euphoria Season 3 will save Sam Levinson. Yeah, only Zendaya can save him. Kay Walton says, the Bear Season 1 is great, but should be drama for comedy. Oh, but should be in drama, not comedy for awards. There should be a hybrid category, dramedies. I think it's a comedy, though. I think it's a comedy. But I can understand what you're saying, Kay. 80s model says they cut The Idol 1 episode shorter. I heard that it was 6 episodes at one point, but once they did the editing on it, it was set for 5. So they did not cut it down. Ulk says, Grace, do you think that eventually the big studios will bow down to Netflix and stop trying to be in the streaming space? I don't think Disney Plus will, because it's just too strong a brand. I think they'll fold Hulu into it and become more competitive. But I do think that, especially considering David Zaslav, how he runs things, I think that there's a very good chance that Paramount Plus and Peacock and HBO Max are just Max now, maybe wouldn't last. Because I think they've lost what made them special. At one point, I would have said that maybe HBO Max would have stuck around, but now that they're going to start licensing HBO content to other services, I don't think it's going to, I don't know if it has the same situation as it did. I agree, J. Alexander, there are way too many streaming services. It's ridiculous. Chris says, does Paramount Plus still have a mountain of entertainment? That's funny, Chris. That was a good slogan. I thought that was clever. They do, but I mean, a lot of it is, filler. Sorry. Kevin Alexander says, what did you think of Jasmine Savoy Brown on Yellow Jackets? I love her, but I thought the show was horrible. She was great. I think she's very talented. I'd love to see her get more work. She's great in Scream. I'm done with Yellow Jackets. I'm glad you guys are all glad I'm hydrating. Me too. I'm trying real hard. Let's see here. All right, I think we're ready for the Ask Me Anything portion of the show. Hold on. Here we go. Q&A time, baby. 10 minutes. So till 4:02. I'm sorry I didn't get any videos up today. I was a little behind schedule. Tomorrow is going to be the Nimona review and, of course, my Secret Invasion breakdown. I filmed both of those today. All right, you guys were just waiting for the Q&A. Zay says, Grace, I finished Black Mirror Season 6 and it felt like a dip in quality. Did the creators, directors, or writers change recently? It was just all right. Well, I didn't watch all the episodes, but I would agree with you. I thought it was weak. I don't think, the main guy's still there. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to keep coming up with really clever ideas, especially as the world starts to become a Black Mirror episode for real. So yeah, I've heard somebody in a previous stream said it kind of took away from the technological aspects of the stories, and I would agree with that. I think maybe that might have been an issue. Entertainment Nerd says, hi, Grace. Thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's trailer? Thanks for all that you do. My pleasure. I'm sorry I didn't react to that. It's a little bit hard for me to react to Universal trailers. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked okay for Halloween. It looked a little cheap. I noticed that it didn't trend this time, which I think is not a great sign. I think that doesn't help. What was that thing with Anthony Mackie? That they had a trailer debut during the Summer Game Fest, and everybody was like, "That looks awful," and it was like the same thing. I think so. I think they're going to hurt each other. I did think it was funny that Matthew Lillard still has the exact same vocal affectations that he's had like since Scream. So that was very funny to hear him talking that way. April Cavaro says, I tore my calf muscle a few days ago and I'm still laid up in bed. Oh noes! Could use some good wishes from the BTT community. Feel better, April. I'm glad that, you got it taken care of and that you're resting. Don't get up before you need to because, you don't want to re-injure it. Hold on, a lot of questions here. I'm going back. YouTube just skipped me forward. Lloyd says, Grace, could the success of The Bear push Disney to start exploring options for a Disney Plus feature on the binge model? Oh, you mean for Disney Plus to do the binge model because The Bear was binged? I don't know. Like, for instance, I think Only Murders in the Building being week to week is a great idea because that way nobody can find out who the killer is, too quickly. So I like Only Murders being week to week. I think it still depends on the show. Hey, Diego. Thanks for joining. NewsWriter22 says, excited for Angela Bassett, but isn't she too young for an honorary Oscar? I think they feel bad about what happened last year, and so they're trying to make up for it. But as Peter O'Toole said, when he got an honorary Oscar, he wishes he could have won the thing outright. I think it's not a great consolation prize. But I mean, at least it's something. Richard Montano says, Grace, I saw No Hard Feelings yesterday with my friends and we couldn't stop laughing the whole time. Have you seen it yet? Jennifer is comedy gold. I have not seen it. I don't think that I'm going to see it, but I'll probably watch it when it gets to Netflix. Jay King says, Grace, I just have to say that Sunday's Movie Math was a cinematic masterpiece. Aww. Is there a best picture for YouTube video? If there was a best picture for YouTube videos, it would win for sure. That makes me so happy. Movie Math, it's a lot of work. It takes about 6 hours on Sunday, but it's a labor of love, and the fact that you guys love it makes it totally worthwhile, and I look forward to it every week. I love talking to you guys about that stuff. Oddly specific, we are in the Ask Me Anything section. Let's see here. Enter for None says, I think Gunn will use DC's authority to spawn the Authoriteens to one-up Marvel's Young Avengers, only to both fall to Gen V. That's funny. I heard Gen V was having some issues, though, which is why it's been delayed. We'll see. I think the Authoriteens sounds ridiculous. That's a good question, though. Can you really do the Authority now that the boys have been out? I don't know how you could possibly top the boys. I love the boys so much. Jay Alexander says, how do you think Matt Reeves is feeling about his decision to skip out on joining James Gunn's universe with the Batman? Probably pretty darn good after The Flash imploded. He's like, keep me out of that thing. But I think he's going to have a difficult time no matter what with a Batman DCU movie running tangentially. Let's see here. I don't know who Pearson Fode is, Marvelous Jack. Hey, Dane. Mando's Ace says, I think it's funny how Emma Mackey and Ncuti Gatwa are getting bigger and better roles after Education, while Asa Butterfield isn't getting any work at all. Well, I think Asa Butterfield, had his chance, never really caught on, and so I think that's part of the issue there. Toon Dude 19 says, Grace, why was Secret Invasion viewership so low? Was it the AI controversy? I think it just looks boring, and I think word of mouth was really bad. Bartleby, always so generous, says, are you getting Heartstopper Season 2 screeners? If you can, send me the spoilers. I wouldn't spoil it for you. I will ask for Heartstopper screeners, though. I'll be reviewing the show, because I loved Season 1 so much. Oh, yeah, it was Twisted Metal. Thank you. That's the other show that I think Five Nights at Freddy's is competing with. Elijah, I don't know when we're getting the MCU X-Men. Again, as I said, I think it will be after Secret Wars, because the Fox X-Men are going to have two last hurrahs, Deadpool 3 and Secret Wars. Juan C says, with all the behind-the-scenes VFX drama in Spider-Verse, when do you think we'll get part 2? It seems like Amy Pascal ain't going to let that slow her down. I think she should just give bonuses to everybody and move on. That's what I would do. Bonuses to everyone. Let's see here. Aaliyah says, wary of streaming ratings news until Nielsen regarding The Bear. I'm suspicious of company reveals. Hopefully Nielsen is in 1 month. Well, you have to remember, Aaliyah, they really qualified it for The Bear. They were like the most biggest for FX. And you're like, well, how big is that? You know, I think it should do well, but I don't know if it's going to be huge because it's not even #1 for Hulu. Let's see here. 80s model says, Grace, I have no question. I just wanted to say thank you for all your work and for the BTT community. What a nice thing to say, 80s model. My absolute pleasure. And thank you to all of you for being a part of the BTT community. You are the BTT community. Robert Rivera. Oh, no, where'd it go? Hold on. Oh, a lot of questions. Hold on. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, my goodness. Boy, goodness. Hold on. April. Oh, April, even with your injured leg, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Okay, Robert Rivera, thank you for joining. Lewis Cook says, hi, Grace, what are your thoughts on Zaslav cutting most of the staff at TCM? And also, it turns out he's having the heads of Warner Brothers Film run TCM. How could they run a TV network or a cable channel and the movie division? That seems ridiculous to me. I'm very nervous about TCM's future. President Progressive says, politicized audiences, abuse scandals, strikes, streaming. Are we currently in another great Hollywood crisis? I wouldn't say it's just a Hollywood crisis because it seems to be happening in the entire world. I think everybody has kind of lost their mind a little bit. And so we're trying to navigate that. I mean, did you see how toxic Twitter was today? I mean, that was just nuts. The Dark Savior 755 says, Grace, what are we all going to do? Let's see here. Look at all the well wishes that April got. Aw, I love it. Andrew Boda de Atella, thank you for your generosity. Rick71 says, Grace, do you think if Gunn fails with his vision of DC, that DC would even be salvageable in the hands of another studio? Thanks for all that you do. My pleasure. I think it's gonna have to take a break then. It's gonna have to take a break. And I hope they don't move forward with too many movies. Let's release Superman Legacy and see how it does. That's what I would do. And Creature Commandos and be like, let's just hold off on everything else until we see how this stuff does. Fatine says, who's your favorite Ghost Crew member? Well, that would be the cast of Star Wars Rebels. And I'd have to say, I really like Ezra because I like going to the dark side partially, as you know, as a Slytherin myself. And I really like Kanan. I love Jedis, and I think they're both extraordinary. I've also been enjoying Darth Maul, who looks particularly good in animation. Clearwater Fliss says, hi, Grace, so happy to make another live stream. What film are you most excited for this year that's not yet been released? Much love from the UK. I'm really excited about both Barbie and Oppenheimer. I think that's going to be a fun time. I'm excited for both those. Let's see here. Sunny and Lead says, well said, 80s model. That's very nice. Gay for Satan says, hey, Grace, did you hear that Secret Invasion has the second lowest viewership of an MCU Disney Plus show? Well, we have to wait till we see it. Again, I agree with Aaliyah. Some of these other analyses are a little clickbaity, but I believe it. It's like, Ms. Marvel's the lowest? I mean, it's just not engineered. Bye, Sadie. I mean, it's just not engineered, I think, to be a success from the get-go. Ohad says, hi, I watched an early screening of the horror film Talk to Me, an excellent film. Oh, thanks for the recommendation. Just Josh says, what is an honorary Oscar? Well, they give out an honorary Oscar now and then just because they're like, we're sorry you never won one, but you kind of should have one. So they give them out every once in a while. Alan says, Grace, you are so knowledgeable and helpful when it comes to the industry. Thank you for your hard work. Got any Nicki Minaj lipsticks still? Yes, I do. I think I have like 2 or 3 left, but I'm getting down to the wire. I'm going to have to find a new lipstick. I see a lot of you are surprised that Movie Math takes so long. But yeah, it takes a long time to do the analysis, to write it all out. I got to write my jokes, then to film it, then editing it to get just the right pictures. You know, it takes a long time. Craig Puckett says, count me in among the folks with health issues who are so glad to have BTT to lift my spirits and keep my mind occupied. Well, Craig, I'm sorry you're having a rough time too, but I'm really glad that we can be there for you. So it's always, I think positivity is so important for health. So I'm glad that we can help you. Let's see here. Voice Inject says, Movie Math is my favorite show to watch on Sundays. Oh, that makes me very happy. Aubrey says, do you think SAG will strike? It's looking like it might not, Aubrey. And then that's going to be so bad for the Writers Guild. I feel bad for them. I hope that doesn't happen. April C says, will Stars ever fold into a major streaming service? I don't think so, because I don't think that anybody, there's no parent company for that. So someone would have to buy it. Varian, that's very sweet of you. I like the little heart that you're handing there. It's so cute. It's such a cute little emoji. Staggervore says, do you think the box office failure of The Flash destroys any chance of the character appearing on the big screen again? The Ezra Miller version? Heck yeah. And even for The Flash, I think they're going to take a break. For sure. Let's see here. Kay Walton says, hopefully Blue Beetle can turn things around. I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but I have a friend who's convinced it's going to be a huge hit. So maybe. And she's pretty good at guessing these things. Blurred Roddick says, what comics are you reading this week, and are you enjoying Joshua Williamson's run on Superman? You know, I'm still buying Joshua Williamson's run on Superman, but I'm not loving it, even though I'm still buying it. If you follow me as a subscriber on Twitter, you can see my weekly stack, but I did just read Fables last night, the latest issue of Fables, and I just love that comic. PLA30 says, thank you for mentioning the importance of the black movie-going audience in the U.S. on your Movie Math. Hollywood's been ignoring it for 100 years. My pleasure. Although I don't think Hollywood's ignoring it anymore, for sure. Lucas Blanco says, just got hired at a new job and majoring in business so I can get into the film business industry. Thank you for fueling my love of movies since 2014. My pleasure, Lucas, and I'm so happy to hear that you're making progress towards your dream job. Just remember, keep your options open, and you just want to have a general idea of what you want to do and see where opportunity strikes. Tammy says, hey Grace, I just signed up for Apple TV. I started High Desserts. Any other recommendations? Oh, so many, Tammy. Severance, Ted Lasso, Bad Sisters is great. I like Shrinking. I kind of liked Platonic. There's a lot of great stuff on Apple TV. Wonderful service. Jay Guarduno says, do studios not care if a film flops if it wins awards? How is that good since most moviegoers don't even watch award shows? Well, they like it if it wins awards because it fuels people checking it out later, like on streaming or digital or purchasing it. Also, awards are very good for everyone's career. So that's always nice. So people always feel good about that. And they try to keep awards films to be relatively low budget, so it's not a huge loss. But it's still always about money, helping someone's career, or sales later down the line. Also, it really helps the studio and a production company even to be able to say that they've won a lot of Oscars. That's important for them, for their prestige. Danny says, hi Grace, based on the last superhero movies failing at the box office, do you think it's time for a change? I just think Hollywood needs to stop being so sloppy, and I think it's so ironic that the writers are on strike right now and no one's giving them any respect even still, and what the biggest problem is with a lot of content these days is that it's poorly written. Hey James Scott, I like your avatar picture there. Thumbs up to you too. Britt says, update on the Fantastic Four casting? Oh, I'm way over 402. As I said, I think it's Vanessa Kirby. I feel pretty strong about it. Revolutionary Dragon says, do you think Hollywood will come up with a deal with SAG before the strike starts? I think that's very possible. TJ Williams says, you think it's possible that Batman Part 2 can somehow thwart the plans for Brave and the Bold? The only thing that can thwart Brave and the Bold, well, it's Andy Muschietti now directing it, which is probably making everybody nervous all of a sudden, but then also Superman Legacy being a failure. I like that Gigi just said, girl, I love it. Hilarious. Did David and Rachel just get confirmed? Oh, wow. Right during the stream. Let's see. Well, I better go look at this. Okay, well, let me get going and see what's going on. All right, everybody. That was a fun stream. We are over our time anyway. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a fabulous time, and I might be going live in just a few minutes again with another live stream about David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. So you might want to stick around because it's going to take too long to edit it. Okay, everybody, bye. Bye-bye.